you. My subject is collaborate to create. Collaborate to create. And I realized that anything of which I'm proud, that I've done since I left full-time education, involves an element of collaboration with another person or more. But the thing is, they discourage collaboration at school or university, don't they? I'm just handing in somebody else's essay. And yet collaboration is a life skill, isn't it? They don't teach you how to collaborate at school, at university, do they? Don't nick somebody else's ideas, don't nick somebody else's essay. So is there a way of teaching people how to collaborate, which is so vital in business, in organizations, in families, in relationships? How can we collaborate? And I feel a bit weird right now because normally when I'm on stage, I'm with some other people. We're doing an improv show. There are several of us on stage, or when I'm running a workshop, I've got some people helping me to demonstrate the skills, the exercises. So I've got a stool here, just to imagine that somebody's sitting on there to help me feel less lonely, because it's a bit weird me talking about collaboration on my own, isn't it? And I mentioned improv there. Has anyone ever seen an improv show, an improvisational theatre show? Hands up if you have. Thank you. That's my mother. Improv is about taking a suggestion from the audience and then the team make up a scene, a story, a sketch based on that suggestion. It's a bit like Whose Line Is It Anyway? Anyone seen Whose Line Is It Anyway? Well, if you've seen that in the theatre, you've seen a real improv show in the theatre, you'll get the highs, you'll get the lows. Now, I'd never heard of this when I just left university. I was doing a show at the Edinburgh Festival, a sketch show. We'd written these sketches, taken a year to rehearse, write, then go on tour with these sketches. We'd honed it. We were doing pretty well, we thought. And then our tour manager came back one night from another show at Edinburgh. And she said, this show is fantastic, it's brilliant. They make it up on the spot. What? Have we wasted a whole year? I said, you were hoodwinked. And she said, well, no, they took suggestions from the audience and they made up scenes and stories based on those suggestions. And I said, no, surely what they do is they'll take something like chocolate and then they'll sort of hoodwink us, get us into a sketch they've prepared on a submarine or whatever. And she said, no, I don't think so. Anyway, that company was called Omelette Broadcasting. And years later, I got to work with somebody in that team. And about a couple of years later, after the Edinburgh Festival moment, I found myself working with the same group, doing another sketch show at a grotty theatre in Notting Hill in West London. I met a man called Mike Myers. He was selling tickets for us. He was painting our set. He'd come from Canada to London, to the land of Monty Python, Peter Sellers, the land of his parents, to find work, and there wasn't any for him. Nobody knew him. He was just a guy. He isn't the Mike Myers you might have heard of since. And he was sitting in a wheelchair, not because he's a wheelchair user, but because we'd used all the chairs on set. There were none left. The show was called Get Your Coat, Dear, We're Leaving. We weren't overselling it, I can be frank with you. And in the programme entry I'd written myself, it said, Neil Mullarkey wants to be a really radical alternative comedian, but his mum says he should get a proper job. And I'm still searching for that proper job, in a way. But I got talking to Mike, and I'd heard of a company called Second City Theatre Company. And the origins of that were in the 1920s in Chicago. A woman called Viola Spolin was teaching children who were learning English as a second language, using sketches, exercises, improvisational theatre exercises to enhance their creativity and their language skills. And her son and then some other people, by the 1950s, had created a company called Second City Theatre Company in Chicago, the second city of the United States, if you like. You've heard of people like Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, Tina Fey, who've graduated from Second City, including Mike Myers, and there he was, telling me about improv, how actually they weren't cheating those people that I'd heard about. There's a structure to improv, a structure to improvisational theatre. He'd worked with Second City touring around Canada. He'd come to England to refresh himself a little bit. He made me laugh. He's the funniest person I've ever met. He's also the best listener. He taught me about improv. He said there's a structure. It's all about listening to offers. Everything somebody gives you is an offer. What does that mean? Well, for example, we sometimes might ask the audience for a location. They might say hospital. So two of you get up and think, what can we do with that? And the first person might say, good morning, doctor. The other person will say, good morning, nurse. Okay, you've got a scene going. The offer was doctor, the offer was nurse. Isn't it good? That's all there is to it. You listen. An offer is something somebody gives you, you can do something with. Some collaborator friends of mine called On Your Feet came up with that. An offer is something somebody gives you, you can do something with. Or it might be, good morning, doctor. And then the other person's thinking, well, I'm a doctor, you're a patient. Good morning, Mr. Mullarkey. I see your leg's better. So the offer is patient. And then leg. And the other person will say, yeah, and I'm playing football again. Yes, and I heard you scored 3 goals at the weekend. You can see we build up offer by offer by offer. It's a yes and mentality. Yes and I'm building on what you've given me. Compare that with, good morning, doctor. I'm not a doctor. We call that a block. When somebody doesn't pick up your offer, they ignore or they reject you. Anyone ever felt they've had a block in their lives? A friend, somebody in your family, somebody you're trying to do something with, and they don't pick up your cue, your hook. We call that a block. But the great improviser is looking to say, how can I make that block into an offer? Pretty difficult. Maybe not. Good morning, doctor. I'm not a doctor. Well, I'm not a patient either. And I've seen you in the hospital every day, wandering around in a white coat. I come here too, isn't it fun? And you can have a whole story about these charlatans wandering around hospital. Neither party thought it was the story they're going to tell, but together they've collaborated to create something for which they both share responsibility. Yet neither can claim sole authorship. They may not have expected it when they started the story. So offers are vital. And Mike used to talk about, why have the gods of improv chosen this scene with these characters today? As if the scene already has something within it that we have to find. Not as if we're inventing something, we're trying to find why these characters met today. And offers are the basic currency of improv. What feels like a block to you right now, one day might feel like an offer. So Mike and I started a group called the Comedy Store Players. Things were going well. We did Sundays, we did Wednesdays. But after 10 years of that, I thought, what am I doing here? Why am I wasting 2 nights a week making up things that then get lost? We never record them, we never sell them. People see that show and then it's gone. Other people were sitting at home on a Sunday or Wednesday night, writing sketches, sitcoms, books, from which they could make lots of money by just sitting at home perhaps. And there was I was having to sweat 2 nights a week at the Comedy Store, making up sketches with other people. I thought, oh no, I've done the wrong thing here. I backed the wrong horse. I've gone on the wrong train. So I said to the others, look, I'm going to leave. I must force myself to do something new, to work harder in a different area, to really get down with my writing. And one of them said, just frankly, no, we won't accept it. Tell you what, it felt like a block, but it was an offer. He said, take 3 months off, see how you feel. And within 6 weeks, I was itching to get back. And the journey was, for me, I felt like I was blocking myself by doing improv. It wasn't that I was doing too much improv. I wasn't doing enough. I looked at the scene that was my life, the story. I was thinking, why have I done so much improv? I should be doing more improv. I love this so much. This thing where you're on stage with somebody, you're collaborating, you don't know where it's going to go, but you don't know together. You're uncertain, you're vulnerable, you're fallible. The audience is sharing that uncertainty with you, but the joy of seeing something created in front of their own eyes. And I started to teach people who weren't performers. And there was a moment, March 1998, Bury St Edmunds Theatre Royal, a beautiful theatre, when suddenly this guy kept telling this person, build on what you're given. Listen to the other person, accept offers, give offers. And he did something, and I could see his face saying, dare I say this? And he did, and the audience loved him for it. He didn't stop to filter, to censor himself. And that's when I realized the truth of the saying from a man called Keith Johnson, who was the British guru of this kind of things. He lives in Canada now. He said you become a good improviser, maybe a good collaborator, when you let go of the fear of being seen as mad, bad, or wrong. And that man in Bury St Edmunds had let go of it, and counterintuitively, he wasn't seen as mad, bad, or wrong at all. And so that's what I do now. I teach people improv, the skills of listening, attentive listening. How can I really build on what you've given me? It may not be what I expected. The offers you're giving me, I feel, aren't the offers I wanted, but how can I build on that? Yes and versus yes but. Ever heard that phrase? Yes, and. Yes, I'm hearing what you say, and I build on it, versus yes, but. That feels like a block. Yes, but we can't afford it. Yes, but you can't do that. Yes, but we've done it before. Yes, but it's never been done before. Yes, but we tried it last year. Yes, but that just won't work. A yes and mentality is saying, you've given me an offer. We can build on that. An offer is something life gives you. You can do something with. And that's what I teach now. And many organizations, I can tell you from my experience, are not set up for collaboration at all. Quite the opposite. There are lots of conversations in organizations, maybe even in families, where it goes something like this. Well, this is what I think, this is what I think, this is what I think. Well, this is what I think, this is what I think, this is what I think, this is what I think. Well, good. Now I know what I think. And off you go. Unchanged by the conversation. Improv asks you to be altered by the experience of collaboration. And that's what it's all about, really. Maybe I am now the radical alternative comedian that I wanted to be, because I don't just do comedy now. I'm sharing the message of improv, not just to make people laugh, but to help them realize their creativity, their true selves in a way. What are the offers life has given you? What will it give you later on? Maybe they felt like a block. What are the offers within your organization, within your family? Who should you be collaborating with? Maybe somebody in this room. Maybe somebody you've never met yet. Maybe it's a long-term or a short-term collaboration. Maybe it's just a smile with somebody in the street, a waiter, a waitress, or somebody, a really long-term collaboration where you can create something. It may not be even with somebody you particularly share a great deal. It's not about consensus. Collaboration is different from consensus. Consensus can stop us sometimes. Collaboration says, yes, okay, I have to give something up in order to work with you. So who should you collaborate? Well, sometimes collaborate with your mistakes. Collaborate with others. Collaborate with your friends, your family, or strangers. And sometimes that other guy you're collaborating with is inside yourself. And he or she is giving you offers that seem mad, bad, or wrong. Initially, you don't want to hear them. You don't want to listen to them. But somehow they will help you. So, when I was 18, I thought I'd be a comedian, full-time. I've moved on. I've got something else. When I was 28, I thought I'd be a film director. But I'm not going to do that either. Now that I'm nearly 108, I want to collaborate in order to co-create. Thank you very much.
What an amazing...